Hello, everybody, and welcome back to AIMBOT. Am I morally bankrupt or them? Wow, first off, thank you so much, Left-Handed Jedi. Going to be in listen mode, knock 'em unalived. Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much, Jedi. I really appreciate it. Yeah, lurk away. Lurk all you want, sir. I lurk myself. Yeah, having a great day. I'm fantastic. Thank you. And a big shout out to Andrew. How you doing, mate? Really good to see you. Let's get some Bigfoot Jesus in the chat for Left-Handed Jedi, because what a guy. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so it's Wednesday for me. It's been a good day. I do see in the news, first thing opening the news, Australia is working together with Canada to make a Arctic missile detection system, which I am really chuffed about. It's always good to see after the recent events that we are supporting those who are in alignment with our worldviews and our view on the world, and that's fantastic. Actually, I'm gonna share that because I think that's important to sort of say, hey, who's the people that we want to be working with? It's fantastic. Just give me 1 second. I just want to put some of that good Bigfoot Jesus in chat for the Jedi, for the Jedi. This one's for the Jedis out there. Beautiful. Thank you so much, buddy. Okay. Yeah. No. Okay. I'll share that. That's fine. That's fine. Share screen. Yeah. So there we go. Look at that. $6 billion deal. Apparently, I did not know this. Apparently, Australia is the expert in over the horizon sort of radar system. Australia is a leader in over the horizon radar, an advanced system that allows for continuous threat tracking. Yeah, I did not know this, but you know, Australians can be really clever. It's really clever. It's really interesting. So we've often been known as the lucky country. We call ourselves the lucky country kind of thing, because when people first came here, we had a lot of gold, a lot of resources, a lot of coal, just a lot of resources. So we were called the lucky country. And there was a prime minister just a while back who said, we've got to stop being the lucky country and become a clever country. So at that point, he focused really heavily on education, science, you know, all of technology, all of these things. And, you know, it's surprising what you'll find. Like, who knew that investing in education and science would make you a leader in world technology? Who knew? It's strange. Oh, hello, sisters. How you doing? It's so good to see you. I probably have an interview with the Apostate Sisters coming up. I got to do the thumbnail and everything. I'll do that today. I do apologize, but I'll do that today. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. Hello, Ralph. How you doing? Good to see you. So, yeah, this is sort of, it's not surprising that when countries invest in technology, science, and more importantly, education starting younger, and these programs, you know, like they have programs to teach children code, to teach children how to science, you know, biology for children, things like this. It's no surprise that we end up with a technologically superior country, you know, or one that is a world leader in certain fields kind of thing. You know, transmission and communication has always been something Australia's been really good at, mostly because it's a bloody big country with a few people in it, essentially. That's why, essentially. But, you know, this is the kind of thing that I worry about for the US, as they sort of gut the education system and they put people with religion in these places that seem to have more of a concern about them learning the Bible than learning basic biology and evolution. I really worry about how that's going to come out when you know your place in the world really is on the cutting edge of technology. You know, I really worry about that country and the way that it's going to go if they replace evolution with intelligent design, which to be quite honest with you, I really think that intelligent design, there's nothing intelligent about it. It's absolutely stupid. I really worry. I do, and I worry that it's sort of going to have a knock-on effect. It's going to, if they allow that, then they'll allow, electric universe theory or any of these other baffling theories to replace things that they don't like. How long, if they get their way with evolution, how long is it going to be until they sort of say, well, we also don't like the Big Bang, so we're going to replace that. We don't like the sort of planetary evolution, so we're going to accretion disks and things like that to create planets. So we're going to replace it with God did it and things like that. I really worry because I don't know how the US is going to be at the cutting edge if that's the sort of level of thinking that we're at. The lost generation in China. I'm not 100% sure what is that. The when Mao took control and did the Great Leap Forward. The democratic has disillusionment. Okay, I'm not 100% sure. The lost generation in China. Okay, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, definitely bring it up with me. Not all of them, aren't you? Not all of them, not all of them. I don't know the remedy to that. And hello, Archer. Hello, Tori. Good to see you. Good to see you. I don't know the remedy for that. I don't know how. Even though scientific progress has given everybody all of the things that have made our lives infinitely better, I don't know how to sort of convince people of that. When they're convinced, they're absolutely dead set that it was a sort of some sort of magical guy who looks out for them that is behind it all. I don't know how to convey that sufficiently. You can sort of point to all of these things and say it, but they just won't believe you. They think it all comes from a god, which is just baffling to me. Considering that we know the sort of timeline of the Dark Ages, the Enlightenment, when scientific methods started to get rolling, things got infinitely better. When we've developed these systems over time, we've understood things like the social contract, we've understood democracy, we've understood all of these things working upwards and saying, hey, we're going to get better at this. And there's just a bunch of people. Actually, there was a comedian that sort of put it very well. Like, there's all these people working on the engine of society, where we're all trying to get this train moving, like we're all trying to work together and shovel coal and understand the principles behind how the locomotive works so we can get this moving. And there's a bunch of people back in the caboose singing and dancing around like the train is run by, magic, basically. That's basically what's happening. And his joke was like, it'd be so good just to pull the pin and let him go. But yeah, you can't do that, can you? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's oh, wow. Okay. So Apostate Sisters need 5 more subs. Everybody jump on your sock accounts and go over to Apostate Sisters. And yeah, I'm joking. I would never do that, YouTube. Please don't strike me with the algorithm, please. I would never suggest such a thing. How dare you? But yeah, if you have not, if you're not subscribed to the Apostate Sisters, absolutely do it. They bring a message of hope and healing to people that are leaving religion, especially people that are leaving overbearing cults, which their story is amazing and heartwarming, and all of the things that I'm a sucker for, because sometimes I'm just a hopeless romantic, quite frankly. But there's that. So if you need hope, if you need healing, if you need support, Apostate Sisters are fantastic, and there's their link. If you're not subscribed, do it. Do it. Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening. Look, you know, it's an awesome premise. It's an awesome thing to do. I think that a lot of people leave religion and they get focused on the anger, the hurt, you know, and not, don't get me wrong, I completely understand why that's a valid emotion to have. They focus on, oh yeah, don't forget the irreverence and jokes. Yeah, absolutely. There's also irreverence and jokes. Hey Jess, good to see you. So good to see you. Yeah, don't forget the irreverence and jokes too. But a lot of atheists that have deconstructed, they focus a lot on the anger and the hurt and the pain. And I totally get it. I totally 100% get it. Like it is religious trauma, and that comes with trauma. I totally understand. But I love Apostate Sisters because they really try to focus on the healing, the support, the, you know, things that can allow us to move on with our lives. Not that expressing anger and expressing the pain and expressing the disappointment and all of those things isn't helpful. It is. It absolutely is. You know, but I do love that they do focus on that and have fun along the way. Oh, hello, Deviant. So good to see you. So good to see you. It is a lovely chat. Absolutely lovely chat. I really like it. Fantastic. Okay, so let's get started. And we'll see if we can get through this without one person coming in. As always, our goal is just not one person coming in and telling us that we can't have morality because we don't have God. Because quite clearly we can. We absolutely can. Oh, is that come out? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, the ad. Oh, absolutely. That. Thank you for reminding me. I'm so sorry, Jess. I keep forgetting. And I'm gonna play the ad. Deviant, you are amazing. How did you know I would forget? How did you know? How did you know? All right, I'm gonna full screen this, and I'm gonna play it. Whoop. All right, fantastic. I will grab back that. There you go. So that all of the details are on a Kentucky Atheist channel. I will grab that. All of those organizations at the end, they're all so good. I love Recovering from a Religion. They're just fantastic organization. I can't say enough good about them. Got some more work to do for them as well, which I try to do. I do like to help them out and help out people where I can. There's Kentucky Atheist. I should get the direct link. Give me 1 second and I will copy link address. So if all of the details are in the description for that ad, and I'll just get the link to that. So if you do want to go there and sort of help out and sort of contribute so people can go, that's fantastic. That's awesome. Now, I'm not on the screen. Why am I not on the screen? I'm not on the screen. Nope, that's not it. There we go. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Deviant. ArcandCounterProtest.com. Yes, absolutely. But yeah, that ad did slay, Jess. That's awesome. That's amazing. Love it. So what are we doing? AIMBOT, am I morally bankrupt or them? Basically, we're going to Reddit to am I the a-hole, and we are doing some consensual moral judgment on people that have solicited it. So it's completely fine. As always, I have not curated these. I have not selected them. First off the page is this morning is what I'm doing. Have not read them before, so we're both going to experience them together. It's important to me. Well, I mean, it's not that important, but I do like to know. I would prefer to know why people think that something's right and wrong, not just whether it's right and wrong. It's very easy just to say, hey, that's wrong. Why is it right or wrong is the question that I love to ask, and I really want to know. But that's okay. I do a poll. You don't have to vote. You can just donkey vote and select one randomly. I don't care. It's fine. I'm not the judge of you. I'm not the judge of you. I'm the judge of these people. I'm the judge of the anyway. Yeah, so we're just going to go through and you can sort of say, I use secular humanism, which is looking at a reasonable consequence of actions upon human well-being, all three of physical well-being, mental well-being, and societal well-being. So really, I subscribe to that methodology. And in evaluating that, we generally use science. And I don't think it's been said enough, actually, how much science is referred to by secular humanism, that we acknowledge that science is the best way to understand our world, at least at the moment, until someone comes up with something better. And I think that sort of referent, that sort of, looking to science for evaluations, I think that's what a lot of Christian people are upset about, or religious people in general. They don't like that religion saying, hey, this is good for you or this is bad for you. I don't think they like I don't think they like that science is sort of replacing them in that sort of respect, and that's why they don't like it. But if they can produce the results science does, I would listen to them, but they can't. A question that I like to ask religious people is, what sort of knowledge has your religion provided about the world around us? Confirmable knowledge. And there's very, very little that religion has actually done for us, like incredibly small amount, if anything. Religious people is different. Religious people have contributed a great deal, especially when they're using science, but not the religion itself. Okay, first one. Am I the a-hole for not letting my father walk me down the aisle because of his infidelity? I wouldn't see this one. I don't think so. I don't know her relationship with this man, so I would say no. Like, I don't like one of these things with like, should I let this guy? I'm not really a tradition guy. I don't think that having a tradition is a good reason for doing things. Now, don't get me wrong. There's things that are traditional that I certainly think have value, but they kind of have value independent of just being tradition. Or there's things that are traditional that they don't really cause harm at all. They're sort of amoral. They don't, it causes no harm. So, I don't know. I guess, doing a toast before a meal or something, I don't really see it doing any harm. It's traditional. If you want to engage in it, great. If you don't want to engage in it, I don't really have an issue. Number one, the aisle suggests a religious wedding already. I don't think that anybody has to do any tradition that they don't like. I don't know. I don't think that, what I would say that if, Well, I'm just thinking, if they're very traditional and you don't really care, would it be better to do that? Yeah, but it's your day. I don't. Yeah, no, I don't think this is a problem. I really don't. Anyway, let's go through it. This was deleted by the person that originally posted it. Well, that sucks. Why? All right, I'm going to downvote. I believe I could be the asshole because in a way, okay. Why didn't it say it's been? Oh, that sucks. Okay, so apparently everyone thought she was an asshole. I don't know how. I don't know. Should you be participating in the traditions that perpetuate the patriarchy and are part of purity culture? Yeah, yeah. I suppose if it was ages ago, you know, does one instance of infidelity make you a bad person? Well, no. But if somebody's still hurt about it, do they have the right to sort of say, hey, I don't want you at my wedding? Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Hello, Luke. Good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Am I the a-hole for sending my little sister a vet bill after she tried to get my horses to breed? I don't even know where to start with this one. This sounds like first world problems in a nutshell. Hello, Mandoop. Dad wasn't a fan of the tradition of not cheating in a monogamous. No, look, a monogamous relationship, it's defined as not having sexual relations with, like, that is like literally it doesn't say whether he was a fan or not. Okay, like it doesn't say anything to do with his preferences as far as relationships go. He essentially broke a monogamous relationship by sleeping with somebody else. Like, that doesn't say what his preferences are. People make mistakes. It does happen. To say it's not his preference is a bit weird. Certainly not a moral thing to do. Absolutely, I would say that if you're in a monogamous relationship and it's understood to be monogamous by both parties and you're going out cheating, that is absolutely immoral. Absolutely. But, I don't have a problem with people that are in polygamous relationships. That's their thing. I don't, it's not a problem at all. But I think that sort of it's the making agreements with people and then not living up to them is sort of it's harmful. It is harmful. There's a lot of trust broken and things. So yeah. I have done horse riding. I used to ride horses, loved horses, but and not for ages, to be honest with you. Like, I pissed off equestrian. Dear. So what the hell? I don't even know. I'm gonna say yes, you're fine, just on the off chance. I don't know. Wow. I, 33 female, am a horse breeder and own 10 horses. I have a little sister, 19 female, who was a surprise baby for my parents. Is that really relevant? Okay. I mean, I was a surprise baby for my parents as well. I was the surprise. I don't know what that's got to do with anything. They didn't think that they could have more after me, so she is quite babied even now. Okay, well, she is like over 10 years younger than you, by the way. Just saying. She's what, 24 years younger? Dude, seriously? That's probably more to do with it than oops, we did it again. No. It can be a mistake. It's not an accident, right? Now, when people say, hey, I accidentally cheated, that's not an accident. But a mistake is something you can do intentionally that was the wrong thing to do. So, Joe, you're kind of right. Yeah, no, I get that it can't be an accident, but a mistake, yeah, it can be a mistake. They begged me to take her on to help her get some work, and I agreed, but made it clear she'd have to work hard and there would be no slacking. I don't know. Working with your family can sometimes be really bad, like really bad. I remember working with my dad, and he was terrible to work with when you're family. It just, nah. Horrible, horrible, horrible. Sometimes working with your family. I mean, family businesses, yeah, I totally get it, but sometimes working with your family is terrible. She has generally been fine with it. What's with the italics? Fine with it, and enjoys being around the horses, though I do have to light a fire under her ass at times to get her to keep working. The problem, however, arose when a local animal rescue asked me to help them. They had a stallion surrendered to them, and they didn't have the capabilities to take care of them. I had room, so agreed to take him. I've also arranged a full genetic testing on him to ensure that he's all right, as it seems like he was gotten through backyard breeders. I've also made an appointment to have him gelded, as I don't know enough about him to risk him not being gelded. Okay, ouch. He has his own paddock and kept in a separate stable than my own horses just to be safe. I'm slowly socializing him, but I'm taking no risks. I've been letting my sister sitting on my breeding planning for 2025, and my main stars are going to be Dante and Willow. This seems really bad, to be honest with you. I don't. Yeah. They've had 4 successful and healthy foals who are going into dressage. I know they work well together, and Willow has had a 2 years break, so she's ready to go again this year. The first warning bell I overlooked that my sister was asked about the new stallion and when I'd be breeding him. I explained he's not to be bred as there are too many unknowns. I don't know his health. I don't have a good enough grasp of his temperament. She protested that he was pretty, though, prettier than Dante, and I explained there was more than this than looks. I thought she'd understood, and I didn't think further on this. Okay, wow. All right. This is weird. This is a whole world that I've never seen before. You know, like I don't know. I don't understand breeding. I don't think that I would really particularly get into it. I don't understand people that want to breed and create the best animal. I don't know. I just it just is this weird ass, very, very elite thing. Yesterday an emergency came up and I had to leave my sister alone for an hour. I told her she could take an hour break. When I came back, I found to my horror she'd put Willow in the paddock with the new stallion. I asked her what the fuck she was doing, and she told me she thought they'd work well together, and she was doing me a favor. I got Willow out of there, but not before the new stallion bucked and reared quite a bit from stress. I got Willow out of there and set about calming him down. I told my sister to get home and not come back, shouting at her quite a bit. Okay, and this is why. You can't abuse your frigging staff. It doesn't matter that they're a family member. You can't do that. Like, seriously. I think that sort of, shouting at her and yelling at her, I don't know. I then had a vet come out and check them both to ensure they'd not hurt each other. My one relief is Willow isn't in estrus yet, so she's not in heat, basically, so she's not ready to get pregnant. I had the bill sent to my sister at my parents' house. They called me in a panic asking what the hell this was. When I explained, they told me I was being unfair and she didn't understand. She couldn't pay this from being cruel and my sister was crying. I told them she didn't understand. She did understand. She just didn't care that she could pay or they could pay, but I wasn't. They're freaking out about how they'll afford this. Am I taking it too far? In my opinion, yes. Look, this is where family working together can be particularly bad, because if that was just some random ass employee, how would you respond, right? If it was some just random ass employer, you'd be mad and say, hey, that's completely unacceptable. You probably wouldn't yell and scream at them because that's not professional behavior. Maybe you would. And if you do, you're probably a shitty employer. But, you'd probably be angry at them, but without yelling, and then you'd probably fire them. So that's what you should do with a family member. Like, you wouldn't have an employee that was working in that area and send a bill to their house for the vet. No, you'd just fire them. You can't do that to an employee, right? When you have a trainee or you have somebody working under you, if they make a mistake, like, you can't just send a bill to their house. They've made a mistake. Like, this is the thing. You can't just do that. So, yeah, I think absolutely. I will upvote this because I do like the situation. And I've learned way more about horse breeding than I ever wanted to know. Oh, God. No, you can't treat a family member like not an employee. You have to actually treat them like an actual employee. And if you're not going to treat an employee like that, why would you treat a family member like that? I actually think that yeah, you're being a complete a-hole. Absolutely. Got the notification on my phone, but not appearing on my sub feed. Yeah, I don't know. I actually the algorithm is beyond human comprehension. It is the final frontier. I have given up on understanding it. Given up. Anyway, let's see. Where's my poll? Was the poster right for billing sister for vet? Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's see what the Redditors have to say. Horse owner, absolutely NTA. What the blah, 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 blah. What the hell? You're yelling now. He could have killed your mare. Bet she wouldn't like that bill or the lost income afterwards. Exactly. I freaked out and was shaking so badly. Willow is a total baby and would never have hurt him, but he is a huge screaming unknown. Okay. Okay. I don't know why. Okay, so the yeah, but the whole point is that the stallion didn't kill the mare. Like, that's the thing. You're treating it as if he kind of did. I don't know why, but they kind of treating it like it did. So I'm not super educated about horses, but couldn't either both the horses could have been hurt to the point where they'd have to put down? Your sister is a danger to have around them, and your parents need to understand she doesn't know to not try and breed horses without permission of their caretaker. That's your parents' fault. NTA. They absolutely could have, and the stallion could have straight up killed Willow too. Wait, is Willow the sister? Oh, no. Willow's the horse. Okay, good. You know, but it's interesting that you're more worried about your mare than you are about your 19-year-old sister. I don't get it. Like, if the stallion could have killed the mare, it certainly could have killed your sister. I get not the arsehole. Veterinarian here. I also run a rescue for draft horses out of our small farm and come from a long line of horse breeders and have strong equestrian background. This was monumentally disrespectful and potentially harmful to your horses. Yeah, I get that. Regardless of if you had planned breeding or not, you were correct to keep the new stallions separated until you knew what's what. Horses have so many communicable viral and bacterial diseases they can spread to each other, and you were right not to risk your other horses. Not to mention you could have severely injured your mare. Your sister needs to learn to listen to what she is told no and not to do things because she thought it would be cute. I would be upset about it as well. I'm actually secondhand upset for you, and her having to deal with the consequences of her actions is right. Your parents' reaction is exactly why your younger sister feels they can get away with whatever she likes and then boo-hoo and claim ignorance. Let them know that they are coddling her, and the next call might be from the police when she does something even worse, because for her there seems to be no ramifications to her behaviour. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that you should treat your sister exactly like another employee. I don't know if you'd be sending your employee the bill. I get that. You know what? I get that you might think that everybody sucks. Like I get the vote of everybody sucks, but I don't think the horse breeders acting, very well either. NTA, your parents are saying she didn't understand, is treating her like she's 5. She's an adult by legal standards. She's been around horses now for a bit, so she might most likely completely understands what she did. She didn't give an F on what she wanted. Yeah, I love the Redditors just reading their minds. It just, happy nothing happened to either horse, but yeah, your sister needs a reality check. Well, yeah, I mean, not the arsehole. Realistically, how much money would be out if this breeding had been successful? Well, I wouldn't expect them to pay the bill. You can tell them sis isn't coming back to work till it's paid. Look, she probably shouldn't come back to work at all. Like, if she can't follow instructions, she shouldn't be there. Like, seriously, I'm not even joking. If your business relies on people doing what they have to do and this person was told not to and didn't, like, this is why we have probation periods in work, because if you get somebody and they can't follow instructions, then you've got to let them go. This is the thing. I'm not saying that, you should treat them like an employee, except that it's your family, so you can't fire them. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that she shouldn't be working there at all, because if that is so dangerous and so, if she made that big a mistake, then you can't have them working there. Like, this is the thing. No, it's not till it's paid. Don't have them working there at all. Edit, I misread that, so I thought how much I'd stand to gain. Sorry about that. I've been out and by a lot. This is such an unknown that if I'd gotten Willow to the vets to ensure it didn't take. Wow, okay. I wonder how Christians feel about horse abortion. Do they feel any way about horse abortion? There are I love how they've said it, though. The vets to ensure it didn't take. Yeah, abort that horse fetus, I guess. Yeah, that's fine. There are so many risks that could impact the quality of life in a foal, and if the foal did occur for some reason, I'd never sold it, but ensure it was all right and I wasn't putting bad blood out there. Wow, okay, that's really like that has sort of very, very horrible vibes. I dislike this entire world, to be honest with you. I don't know. What? Yeah. What do the peeps have to say? Sorry, I'm tired, and it is early. I'd get some coffee in me, and oh, I remember this world, and not necessarily fondly. Yeah, I mean, I get that. I get that. It's a very elitist kind of world. I get you. Andrew says they are both wrong. Put them down. They have a bum leg in. Okay, fair enough. How to rule an Astro. I get that she was pissed, but that's still abuse. Yeah. No, I've been shouted at by an employer, like that, and had to stand up for my rights, kind of thing. Like, you can't just be abused on the job. I get that you're angry. I get you might be running a small business, but screaming at people is not the way to behave with him. Like, you have power over that person. It's very abusive to scream at them. It's not good for people. Is shouting immoral even though you're expressing an emotion? Yeah, man, dude, but really, like, you're allowed to express an emotion, but not at the cost of somebody else. So if you want to say, look, I'm really angry about this kind of thing, that's totally fine. And you can be angry. Okay, but screaming at somebody is just going to make them feel like crap. And like, you have to be professional, right? um if you work somewhere, you can't just scream at customers because they're being assholes, right? Like, you have to behave in a professional way, and that extends to the employer as well. Like, if you're not behaving professionally, what are you doing? You shouldn't be employing people if you can't act professionally towards them. Aunt Jess says, I would send the bill to the employee if I specifically had a conversation with the person saying not to do this and they do it anyway. They have to face the consequences of why I said they should. Yeah, that's not legal. That you can't send, like, if you say be really careful with this thing, or don't put the this ingredient into this thing, and then they put the ingredient in and mess up an entire batch of something, right? If it's in cooking, you can't send them the bill for it, right? You can't, like, you have to work within the confines of industrial regulations. You can't fine somebody for screwing up at work. You can fire them. You can absolutely fire them. Or if you can show that they were doing it for malicious intent, sure. But you know, just fire them. Just fire them. You can't bill somebody for a mistake that they've made, even if you said, "Hey, I told you not to do that," and they still did it. You can't fine them for that, or send a bill for things to their house. That's not how anything works. Hello, Tilting. Yeah, lurk away. Lurk away. Always good to have you lurking in the background. Resistance of futile, appease the algorithm, cue the soft jazz. Yeah, I don't know what appeases the algorithm. I've given up. I've given up. I've had enough. Had a gutful. I don't even care anymore. That's it. Algorithm is dead to me. Speaking of resistance being futile, John Delancey is speaking on evolution. Center for Inquiry on Thursday. What's the Center for Inquiry? Oh, okay. A non-profit, mitigate belief in pseudoscience. Oh, that's cool. Deviant says, I get a very icky feeling surrounding breeding. I know it's not the same, but it sets off eugenics alarm bells in my head. It feels very, elitist and isn't as in focus as it should be. It's more focused on appearance. Well, no, I don't know. You sort of, I think it's focused more on bloodlines and things like that. I can you say eugenics? Oh, I don't know. I knew you could. I don't know. Yeah, Deviant, the other point I want to make, breeding feels like, yeah, and it's gross. Plenty of horses available for adoption. Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. And things like, greyhound breeders and stuff. And it's weird because the sort of, they're like, oh, but it's the backyard breeders that are bad. We're doing fine. And it's like, well, are you? Are you? Nehufa, the Yahweh of horses. Okay. In America, screaming bosses are a norm. Human resource departments are toothless. Then you either don't have union, or the union always favors the senior employee no matter what. Oh, really? Wow, that sucks. No, we've got industrial relations laws here. You don't scream at employees. You don't do that. Like, you don't. No, that's bullshit. Relations Commission. Okay. So one thing Australia has that other countries don't is something called an ombudsman, right? It's this leftover thing from England where an ombudsman was the king's representative to make sure things were being done correctly. But now it's sort of been transmitted to an independent organization that moderates companies, basically. So they'll be part of the ombudsman. Now, the ombudsman has the right to lay down fines and penalties for breach of this sort of stuff. So bullying in the workplace under the Fair Work Ombudsman in Australia. Bullying at work happens when a person or group of people repeatedly behave unreasonably towards another worker or group of workers. The behavior creates a risk to health and safety. Okay, so that might be physical. Sweden. Ombudsman is literally a Swedish word. Oh, really? Well, I mean, it might be a Swedish word, but we got it from England. Like, that's basically where we got it from. Hang on, I'll look up the etymology of it. Just one sec. Oh, look, Sweden's freaking amazing. It is Swedish. Legal representative. Yeah. Oh, I did not know that. No, that's totally cool. Comes from the Swedish word ombudsman, meaning representative of the people. Okay. Well, am I wrong that we got it from England? Oh, maybe we did get it from then. The first ombudsman was appointed in Sweden in 1809. First Australian one was established in 1971 in Western Australia. So weirdly enough, Australia has really a ton of different immigrants that brought all kinds of stuff from all over. We had I used to work for a place called Miss Maud's, which was a Swedish restaurant in Western Australia. Yeah, we had a lot of Swedish immigrants. Loved every single one of them. This is what happens when you get people in from different parts of the world, different perspectives, different ideas. You get great stuff. This is the melting pot in action. Anyway, examples of bullies include behaving aggressively towards others, teasing or playing practical jokes, pressuring someone to behave inappropriately, excluding someone from work-related events, unreasonable work demands. It covers sexual harassment. It covers discrimination, protection from bullying in the workplace. So sort of behaving aggressively. If you're screaming at someone, you're behaving aggressively. Completely unacceptable in Australia. Unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. You can't do that. You can't. You know, it's not impossible to be angry and upset and not scream at somebody. In customer service, you've got to do it all the time. So why are you expecting your employees to keep a lid on their anger and act professionally if you're not going to do the same? Just saying. So yeah, ombudsman, thank you, Deviant. I learned something new and I'm glad of it. I really appreciate that. But Australia has very strong worker laws, and for good reason. Because if you let corporations do whatever, it turns out ridiculously harmful for everybody concerned. Mostly the workers, I have to admit. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, Swedes do know where it's at. It's a Swedish word. Okay. I think I was up to here. Yeah, the senior employee. Yeah, that's not, but once, if human resources aren't doing their job because they're being influenced too much by the company, where do you go then? Or the union isn't doing anything. That's where the ombudsman steps in. And I mean, I think that unions are incredibly important. They're insanely important, but they can get too much power and get a bit out of control. So they're a good check and balance, but you know, I think unions having too much power is not good. Darren says, I'm not being yelled at work at 40 years. The last one still walks with a limp. Well, I wouldn't suggest doing anything, but I get what you mean. Like if somebody yells at you, say that's unacceptable. You're not allowed to do that. I get you, Darren. You don't, you know. If a boss yelled at an employee here in Sweden, the boss would be in big trouble. But then again, we have a strong union. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I'm with you. I'm 100% with you. America never left its slave mentality. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that, Andrew. I really am. Aunt Jess says, I don't know what laws are for billing an employee for damages they cause. Maybe they're different than Australia. Maybe, yeah. If it's illegal here, I stand by a statement. They cause the cost to my company. Yeah, okay. No, I get you. I get you. I'm not sure if it is legal over there. It certainly wouldn't be legal over here. Yep, Davian, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You totally corrected me. I'm absolutely sorry, but you are right. You're absolutely right. Just another reason I'm looking at Australia for relocation now that my passport is updated. Oh, okay. Well, you know, Reed, all good, mate. It's very chill over here. It's very, you know, I was sort of talking to Nick and sort of saying there seems to be so much fear over there. Like everybody's afraid all the time. And Australia, you know, you think with all of our animals and stuff, we would be too. We're really not. Everyone's just kind of chilling out, you know, just doing our thing. Everything's kind of really relaxed. You know, it's all, you know, like nobody's worried about, you know, I'm not going to say nobody, but it's not like there's tons of people worried about, you know, what's going to happen. Why can't I, you know, how am I going to survive, you know, paycheck to paycheck? There's less of that, I guess. There's certainly people that are in that situation, don't get me wrong, but less, and sort of a stronger social safety net makes people less prone to this kind of really desperate behavior. So it's not too bad. Just be aware, I think Australia does have a drinking problem, to be honest with you, but that's about all. Hi, Ollie. Good to see you, Ollie. Hey, I just did a thing. We just where is it? We just Canada. We're doing deals with Canada. Yeah, this is from like 19th of March, which is today for us. So yeah, today they announced it. We're working with Canada. Yeah. Democracies band together. Absolutely. I'm on board. I'm 100% on board. 100% on board. I do agree there shouldn't have been yelling involved. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. I've been yelled at, full-on red-faced boss yelling eyeball. No, that's totally understandable. Totally understandable. It you know, there's you wonder how you're supposed to respect a boss that doesn't respect you. You know what I mean? Like you wonder how that's supposed to work. How can you respect a boss that can't keep it together enough to talk to you and just has to scream at you? I don't know how you expect to get the best out of, you know, it is in your boss's best interests to not scream at his stuff. This is the thing that they don't understand. It's not just bad for the employee, it's bad for you because you're not going to get the best out of those people. The employee already probably feels bad enough that they screwed up. I know I have screwed up and felt terrible about it. And yeah, if somebody screws up and doesn't care, why are they working for you? Replace them with someone that does care if they screw up or not. Like, yeah. In America, you have to prove a hostile work environment through evidence, and you'd actually have to risk paying money to sue. Yeah, no, that is a big risk. It's why best practice as employees prioritize email. Yeah, No, I get you. I get you. So that's usually good, and that's a good point, Reed. If you are an employee and you have somebody asked you to do something, you're not sure about it, ask them to send it to you via email. You know, I'm busy. Could you just send it via email so I don't forget? You know, just send it to me. If they don't, then it's, you know, if they refuse to send it by email, they're probably up to no good. Just to be clear, that second mesh in bowl. Yeah, no, I got you. I got you. No, I understand, Deviant. Look, look, I'm totally with you on Swedish pride. I do like Sweden. Swedish people are awesome, absolutely amazing. I do like them. Jess says, if Canada goes 51st, I'm outing. Maybe Australia, except for the scary things. It's not as bad as you think. I mean, it kind of is, but you know what? I was having this conversation. You know, if you have a choice between the guns in America or the spiders in Australia, I would take the spiders in Australia any day of the week. You know, any day. I absolutely am on board with that. Australians have no fear. Their national hero wrestled gators for a living. Look, that's not true. That is not true. If you're talking about Steve Irwin, like, we thought Steve Irwin would get himself into big trouble and probably die. Like, you know, most Australians are like, yeah, Steve Irwin, he was a nice guy, but, you know, I don't think he was a national hero. He was a hero more to America, right? Like wrestling a gator or a crocodile is probably more accurate, but I get what you're saying. Wrestling a crocodile was more impressive to the Americans than it was to the Australians, because we understand that that's going to get you killed eventually. You know, we're just amazed it wasn't a crocodile. Looking at Canberra is a very windy city. It is very windy, but it's nice. It's more it's kind of, Canberra's the equivalent of an upper class suburb. It's all politics and it's all stuff. But you know, you do you, boo. You do you. Unfortunately, or fortunately for most Americans, it's very difficult to move to Australia. No, I get you, Luke. I hear you, mate. I really do. Yeah, Canada is looking for trading, but yeah, so they're basically doing deals with Europe and cutting out America from their trading deals, like massive deals. And it's just, I don't know what they were thinking. I have no idea, like, what the US was thinking by basically going, yeah, we're going to turn around and, you know, really smack Canada, our biggest trade. I don't know. Yeah, it is hard to get a visa. Sure is. Yeah. Someone should tell the emus. They must have missed that PM. Possibly. I worked for the Department of Transportation. We had one dude who screamed all the time, usually to vent the mistake he made. I think it was protect his ego. Yeah, I've met people like that. I mean, I've worked in call centers. Call centers are a boiling pot for frustration and anger. I've seen people lose the plot completely, like just throw headphones and scream, you know, or headset rather, and scream, you know, just lose the plot basically. I've seen it, you know. It's always a wild ride, but it's a hard job. It is a hard job. There's certain jobs that are really hard that people don't understand what makes them hard, and it's just, yeah. The rich have designed it to make it near impossible to make it once you fall in this country. Yeah, I hear you, Andrew. I do, and I get that. This sort of the American dream, like, that's what Carlin said, the American dream. They call it that because you have to be asleep to believe it, kind of thing. I get you. Couldn't handle the spiders. I'd take the fear of getting mud. Fair enough. They don't worry me. In fact, there's some spiders I really like. You know, daddy long legs I like, because they kill other spiders, even the more dangerous ones. They prey on them, they eat them, so they're really good. I thought the real national hero of Australia was Ned Kelly, the Oz Iron Man. Yeah, probably. He's definitely a national hero. You know, complete criminal, robbed banks. You know, like, yeah, absolutely. Left-handed Jeff. I still remember kidding Mark about wanting a pet blue-ringed Optimus and lose. Look, people have picked those up and poked them and gone, oh, look, they're so pretty. Look at the, like a blue-ringed Oct. Look, this is hammered into us as Australians. You don't just pick up wildlife, all right? You're taking your life into your hands. You don't do that. Do you know that an episode of Peppa Pig was banned in Australia? Banned outright. Peppa Pig, right? Like, because it was teaching children. Like, it had this episode where Peppa Pig went and talked to a spider and picked up the spider. No, we can't have our kids learning that. That's bad. That's really bad. You don't do that. Here we go again. Fuck you. Oh dear. A Jedi just screwing with me. Yeah, look, it's important, man. Look, I had that picture. I've got a picture somewhere of a children's playground and like a sign in front of it. I shit you not, this sign says beware, snake area kind of thing. Snakes are in the area. And there's like right in front of a children's playground. And that's basically peak Australian, you know, like. And it's right. We put a playground in a you know, famously snake-infested area. Like, because why not? Why not? Look, I mean, if you don't bug them, you're probably going to be fine. Probably, you know. Anyway, let's see how the poll went. You people are terrible. I'm going to blame you for everything. It's freaking chat. Everyone is terrible. Yeah, no, I agree, including chat. I kind of see that. I see that because, you know, the sister obviously didn't do the right thing. I get you. Definitely didn't do the right thing. But the horse breeder didn't do the right thing either. It's just amazing how many horse breeders are like, no, she's totally fine. You know, she's totally fine. I don't know. I don't see horse breeding as an excuse to screaming at people. Okay. Existing bus 9859. Am I the a-hole for giving my mum a list of chores for letting her live with me? Well, I mean, it depends. Is she paying board? I mean, if she's not paying board and she's not, you know, she's not sick and not, you know, if she's not working, not sick, not paying board, you know, I think that's totally fair. I really do. It would probably be better if you discussed it with her and maybe came to some kind of agreement with it. Like, you have to do chores. Here is what I'd like to be done. Do you have any input? Is there anything we can come to an agreement on? Be a bit flexible, but sorry about that. Just having a sip of water. Don't forget to hydrate, people. Oh, yeah, the smartest to keep the population check. Yeah, and it's also why Australians, like, we're pretty tough people. You know, I was sort of talking to, who was it? I was talking to, Hooligan, to Justin, and sort of saying people underestimate countries who people live in extreme conditions, like extreme heat or extreme cold. Like, they're not as easy to push around as you think. The Russians found out that one when they tried to invade Finland. You know, people like the Swedish people, the Norwegian people that live in extreme environments are usually pretty tough. You know, they can handle hardship. And Australians are no different. We've got to put up with like ridiculous animals. It's just tough as hell. Yeah, I think no. I think for this one, no. Yeah, me too, aren't you? I hear you. I really do. I try to more, basically. Flexible mums are a good thing. Wink, wink. Yoga for the win. Yeah, yoga for the win. I 100% agree. I 100% agree. Don't fuck with the. Yeah. England found that one out. Okay, so yep. Yeah, diggers are tough. Remember Gallipoli? Well, Gallipoli, we kind of, we hung in there but didn't succeed. It's more Tobruk was the real one where Australia just hung in there. Tobruk was a port on the northern coast of Africa, so near Tripoli, and Australians were supposed to hold that port for like 3 weeks, and instead they ended up holding it for like 3 months or something. Like, it was ridiculous. They just wouldn't leave, and that's where Rommel called the Australians, they're like rats. You just can't get them out. They're rats in a trap. Tobruk was the first time that Rommel's blitzkrieg was actually stopped in its tracks. So one of the reasons why they were stopped in their tracks was that because the blitzkrieg relied on the tanks going through and the infantry following up, kind of thing. But what the Australians started to do when the tanks came through was let them go through, and they'd basically dig holes, like these sort of just bunker holes in the sand, and they would basically come up and attack the infantrymen while letting the tanks slide by, and then they had tank traps, kind of thing. So the tanks would go through, but they wouldn't get the infantry support because the Australians were just being assholes in the back. They would also do things. They perfected something called the fighting patrol. They would actually have 2 different types of patrol. They would have a spotter and a fighting patrol. So the spotter would never engage anybody. They would just spot the enemy and then relay that to the fighting patrol that would actually use that information. And that's used to this day. It's why the SAS is so bloody dangerous, because of the sort of the way that they conduct. It's almost like guerrilla warfare, but one of them is just running around giving information to the other lot of them. Really interesting stuff, when you look at it. But yeah, Rommel was really impressed because we just would not give up, would not give in, just refused. I've actually met somebody from that participated in that campaign. I mean, he'd be long dead now, but yeah, it just really interesting stuff. Yeah. Look at Rats of Tobruk. It's a really, really sort of famous in Australia. No one else cares because it's just Australians, but it's very sort of like it's an Australian thing. It's sort of you never actually give up. All you got to do is hang in there. That's it. Just keep there. You're a desert rat. You refuse to go. Like, trying to get them out of their hole was ridiculous. Yeah, that was sort of a. I mean, eventually they took Tobruk after the Australians were sort of rotated out, but they delayed him so long, Rommel so long, that it helped out all the allies. So that's one of the things we're proud of. Just being absolutely bloody obnoxiously stubborn. Obnoxiously stubborn can be a benefit. Okay, list of chores. Tangent. You're right. Tangents in the chat. All right. I can't do a show without tangents. You don't understand. I've got to do it. I've got to do it. I'm going to put some bogan logics in there. Yeah, the Anzac mission, they're probably Gallipoli and stuff. Gallipoli's interesting because they kind of landed at the wrong place, due to English navigation techniques, the really good English navigation techniques, landed at the wrong place, got basically entrenched, couldn't make progress. It's how they pulled out that was interesting, because they essentially set up rifles over because we're talking about trench warfare in World War One. They basically set up rifles in the trenches with mechanisms to fire them occasionally with water and cans that let water out. So it was a mechanism to fire the rifles. So the Turkish troops thought they were still in the trenches because they were getting gunshots coming over occasionally. But they didn't know that all the Australians had just fucked off and just left these mechanisms to fire rifles. It was actually a really good retreat, like a really good retreat, because they outmaneuvered them with these really primitive mechanisms to autonomously fire rifles. Bloody crafty, stupid Australians. They're just crafty little buggers. It was fantastic. Anyway, my mother, 45, recently moved in with my husband and I, 23, and our toddler. Ooh, okay, we have a lot of space in our home, so we have plenty of room for her since she just got out of a bad relationship. Got you. She is living with us for free, but I'm requiring she does certain chores and helps watch my son at times to help us out. Okay, I think that's fair. She's not working and she's always gone doing her own thing and not helping very much at all. Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, she should have her autonomy, but if she's not, she's living there for free. Yeah, you really got to help out. I'm sorry. If you're not paying board and stuff, even if you are paying board, you probably should help with chores. But if you're living there for free, you really should be helping out a bit more, or a lot more, really. She refused even to watch our son show we could go out for my husband's birthday when she was living here at no cost. Well, in that case, then you put a cost on it. If that's how you feel, then you just say, and this is what I'm talking about. You've got to treat your family like you would anybody else in this case. If you feel they're taking advantage of you, then you say, hey, in order to continue living here, we're going to need some kind of payment. I'm sorry. If you're not going to help out, if you're not going to do these things, then tough. Here's a problem with living with people. And talking about it and coming to some kind of agreement first is probably a good idea. Probably a really good idea. Not to mention my mum didn't even raise me and only got custody back when I was a senior in high school. So your mum who didn't raise you, my grandma raised me. Okay. So it sounds like she's been not present. Like this isn't just a new thing. She's been not present for a long time. I feel like this should be a chance to make up for it. Yeah, well, I mean, it probably is, but whether she'll do it or not is another story. But when confronted, she says that I'm ungrateful. I'm sorry, she's living with you for free, but you're the one that's ungrateful. She's always been very self-centered and selfish my whole life. She has, focusing on boyfriends and partying rather than being a mum. So this has made me resent her even more. She's been out of the house, spending all of her time with a new guy than actually helping me or being a good grandmother. Yet saying I'm asking too much since she just got out of an abusive relationship a little over a month ago. Oh, come on. Like, an abusive relationship doesn't stop you from doing chores. Like, it doesn't. I don't know why it would. I get that if somebody's in a bad place, they might be depressed or whatever. Maybe some counseling or therapy in that case would be a really good idea. But, over a month ago and she's going out with another guy, I don't know. So it does sound like this is a case of you have a problem with your mum, you're resentful, you haven't really settled that thing at all. This would be a chance to, I don't know about that one, champ. I don't think she has to make up for it. I do have a problem with her saying that she's ungrateful. If I'm living at somebody's house and paying no rent, I wouldn't call that person who's letting me stay there ungrateful. It feels like the parent here is the frigging daughter, I feel like the trauma, the parent here is the daughter, sort of saying, hey, if you're going to live under my roof, you've got to do some things to help out. I don't know. How weird. This is weird. Here's a weird one. Weird one. I think that she's got a right to, if she's living it free. Look, if she's not going to do that many chores and stuff, then just charge her rent, charge her board for living with you. And if she doesn't like it, she can go elsewhere. Like, there's no reason why you have to make her live with. But then again, you'll probably have a "am I the asshole for charging my mum rent" kind of thing. Was the poster right in demanding mother do chores? And I mean, this is where your husband really should be standing by you as well and saying, hey, yeah, we're not charging you rent. If you're not going to do stuff, then, you know, you've got to pay rent or board. And you know, sometimes it is the case that people can't live together. I couldn't live with my mum. You know, like, if I wasn't living with her, my mum and I would be really good friends. We had really good conversations, got along fantastic, but we couldn't live together. Living together with somebody is a bit different. You know, it's a bit different. And I'm not going to say it was all her. She definitely had issues with, you know, not using psychology on people and things like that. But you know, I was pretty rebellious as well. It certainly wasn't all her fault, but you know, it's just some people don't get along living together. That's all. It happens. It happens. Let's see what the Redditors say. Why isn't a 45-year-old woman working a paying job? But here's the thing. It seems like you let an unemployed but employable person into your home without lease, without rent, without anything in writing about her obligations. Yeah, that's a problem. Even though it's your mum, yeah, that's on you and your husband. Wow, of course she's not going to do anything. It sounds like she's glided through life on the backs of other people without... Oh, come on, man. You don't know that. Like, this is the thing. Redditors, they're always like, you know, oh, I have an insight into these people. Now she gets to enjoy the ride to child time. I hope you don't live somewhere with squatters' rights, because you'll never get her out now. If you do, yeah, I don't think squatters' rights does not apply if somebody's living in the same house. Like, don't. Squatting is when you're living in a house that's been abandoned or not lived in, dude. Like, seriously, you are not a lawyer. Wow. Either way, you'll likely have to legally evict her at some point. Well, maybe. You don't know that. Do not ever let someone, even family, live in your house without a lease and tenancy obligations along with a lease end date. I won't call you an arsehole, but you screwed up on this one. Good luck in getting her to do anything or getting her out. You have held... You don't know that. Dude, seriously. I tried to send her job applications because she does have a degree and a good background, but she says she wants to try and sell T-shirts and all this random social media business shit. Okay, well, I mean, good luck with that. She does do cleaning jobs occasionally. She's gone through phases as a person for sure. Like, some points in my life, I really thought she changed and even looked up to her in some ways. My reality is setting back in now that she's the person she's always been. Well, you know, I mean, at least she's trying to do something, I guess. Not the asshole. I get wanting her to contribute. Why the heck would you think that a parent that didn't care enough to be in your life should be allowed to care for your child? If she lost custody of you, there's probably good reasons. Zero chance I'd even consider letting alone with my child. She more willingly gave up custody to my grandmother than tried to become a good mother again in high school and college. What, she was like, she had you when you were in high school? Okay, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. Did you agree before she moved in that her rent would be chores and childcare? If yes, she's the arsehole. Yeah. If not, you're the arsehole for not spending the terms beforehand and now kind of expecting her to do all these task chores. It's kind of you to let her move in for free, and yes, it sucks if she tends to be selfish, but it's on you if you didn't communicate expectations clearly. Also, by the sounds of it, she's unreliable. Do you even trust her to take care of your home, let alone your child? Does she reply to that? Yeah. That was the agreement. She always says that she has a lot going on and needs to figure out her schedule. but I'd honestly let her live with me as long as she wanted if she became like a live-in nanny, lol. Okay, well, I mean, that was the agreement. So, yeah, she's being a dick. Not that you don't have moral obligation to house someone that didn't even raise you. Well, kind of. I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Yeah. Yeah, I still think the mother's kind of a being an asshole. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. That's what I think. I'm going to stick by my guns. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Where were we at? Pulling out is always risky. Huncha, you're incorrigible. Andrew says, I'd about a set list unless it was asked and agreed on in advance, but otherwise be sure to be able to have a verbal conversation first. Yeah, I think a set list was asked and agreed upon in advance. She's just sort of saying, yeah. Aunt Jess says, this is a chance for a make-up for being a bad mother. Yikes. Yeah, it's kind of an unrealistic expectation, isn't it? It's really weird. That is yikesy, yeah. Taryn says, Mum sounds like a good time. She can be a good time. She just needs to do what she agreed to in the first place. That's all. For the roof over her head, to live rent-free somewhere. She can be a good time all she wants as long as she's doing the frigging chores. If she's traumatized, she needs to... Well, that's true. Yeah, no, I get you. I get you. But that can get out of control. Absolutely. Reed says, why do I have a feeling this poster is from Florida? Okay, so I've heard the stories of the legend of the Florida man. I don't know how accurate that is, but it does sounds wild. Sounds wild. Aunt Jess says, Mum doesn't sound like the kind of person to take any kind of responsibilities. Asking you to do chores may be too much to expect from someone who consistently lets you down. Well, yes, I get that, Jer. I think that if you agree to it before you go in there, it's fair enough, Reed says, man, so many Am I the assholes boil down to self-centered people are the worst? Yeah, that's true. All of them boil down to a failure to communicate, really. Like, so many of them are like, hey, if you just talked this out, you wouldn't have this problem. Maybe not this one. Maybe this is the rare exception where communication will not solve the problem. Maybe it's one of those rare ones, Reed, but nearly every single one, it's like, if you just talk to the other person and told them what you thought, if it is Florida, offer mum a bump and then chores will be done in no time. Look, that used to be the standard practice with mothers that were having problem. It was like, mother's little helper. Woof. There's free lease agreements available online. Yeah, Archer, I think they are. Yeah. Yeah. Aunt Jess says, yeah, if she was a bad mother too, I wouldn't trust her with your child. But that is true. That is true. Oh, Andrew says there is some ways to stay. Fair enough. Luke says that's a lot of stress on the daughter at such a young age with a family. At this point, she should probably focus on giving mum an ultimatum if this bother. No, Luke, I think I would avoid ultimatums altogether, to be honest with you. Ultimatums are kind of a you do this or else I'll do this kind of thing. It's very, it usually doesn't get you to where you want to go because people will usually double down. Essentially, when it comes to behavior, all you can really do is set your expectations and then act accordingly to maintain those boundaries. Ultimatums are, they're kind of a, they're sort of framed as a expectation of punishment rather than you taking steps to do what you have to, right? So if you sort of say, hey, the chores have got to be done, you know, we cannot have you stay here unless the chores have to be done. Like, they have to be. An ultimatum is saying, if you don't do the chores, I'm going to throw you out. Right? That's an ultimatum. It's kind of I know that it's sometimes a fine line, and it's sort of very similar, but really it's more just using because all that will do is breed resentment, right? If you say, hey, if you don't do this, you know, I'm going to throw you. It's even if they do it, it's just going to breed a lot of resentment. So I kind of would just say, hey, the chores have to be done, or we have to rethink this entire thing, because that was the agreement. That's one thing. Saying, hey, if you don't do this, I'm going to, you know, punish you, can be a lot more harmful. Deviant says, I would never leave a child with my parents, or I would, but not as long as my dad's alive, because I know how being a kid in that house was, and I'd never subject another child to that. Yeah, that's an interesting take. You know, if you weren't happy with your childhood, would you leave them with your parents? I think that grandparents can change. I think as we sort of learn more, some grandparents take on what we learn about, you know, how children grow up on board. Some don't, Deviant. That's totally fair. Some grandparents are better grandparents than they are parents, if that makes sense. I really do think so. Let's see. And what did we get for the poll? Post has done the right thing at 69%. Nice. Okay, chat. I forgive you for all transgressions. You managed to get 69% through. Congratulate. That's beautiful. Beautiful. You've I have faith in chat again. I have faith in all of you, except maybe Aunt Jer, but most of you. I'm joking, Aunt Jer. Please, I do have faith in you too. Let's see. Okay, I might make this one the last one. We'll do a nice round 3. I was watching a Veritasm thing the other day, and it was like saying that 37, there's this weird number of 37 that everybody picks if they're like, not everybody, but like there's a huge proportion of people that'll pick 37 if picking a random number between 1 and 100. Like, because 50's too even, and then all of this. Apparently 37 is this weird ass number. And now that I've put that in your head, even more people will do it. But apparently 37 and 73 are like these weird ass numbers that people just pick when they ask to pick a random number, just a ridiculous amount of the time for no apparent reason whatsoever. It's weird. It's just so weird. TA no interest. TA no interest. No, it's definitely TA no interest. What a weird name. Am I the arsehole for not attending my sister's birthday because she didn't want my husband there? Okay. Partners and marital expectations with invitations. Was that a number file video? No, it was Veritasm. Veritasm? I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think he's Australian. I'm not sure. He's weird. He's a weird one. He definitely goes to Australian laboratories and like telescopes and things like that a lot. I don't know if he's Australian though, but he talks to a lot of Australian scientists. Just called Veritasum. I don't know. Veritasium. I don't know. Veritasium. How is it Sium? That doesn't make sense. No, I refuse. I refuse. there's a Veritasium, but it's not spelt Veritasium. The YouTube channel is pronounced Veritasium. Veritasium. Oh, it does have the I in there. Okay, I've just been misspelling it all this time. Okay, it does have the I. Veritasium. Yeah, okay, Veritasium. I've just missed the I. Okay, there's no I in Veritasium. Derailed again. Yeah, stop. Look, it's not my fault, all right? You knew what you're in for. Yeah, I think that's right, Reed. They're the prime numbers that don't divide evenly from 10. Yeah, so it feels like that they're random numbers because they're not getting those those prime sort of they're one of the prime numbers, so it doesn't feel like they're overused, and they're not even, so they feel exceptional. 69 is your go-to. Yeah, apparently that rates highly as well, Left-Handed Jedi. Yeah, no, I get you. It has an I in it. I just missed the I all this time. Look, I just don't. My brain is not the best, all right? It's got some good things it does, and it's got some bad things it does. And the bad things it does are bad, okay? Just laugh at me and get on with your day. Yeah. Just this thing on numbers. It was interesting. So my opinion of not inviting somebody's partner. I think that if you don't invite somebody's partner, whatever that may be, boyfriend, husband, de facto, whatever it is, if you don't invite them, you can't expect the person to come. I'm sorry, you just can't. Like, you're not an arsehole for not going if your husband isn't invited. I'm really sorry. It's just, that's the way it is. Like, when somebody has a partner, if you don't want their partner coming, you can't get mad at them not coming. Like, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. It's just, I sort of see relationships like that, either monogamous or polygamous, as a set. It's kind of a packet. You can't just go, well, you can show up, but your significant other or others cannot. Like, I'm sorry, that's just not cool. I mean, that's fine if you want to say that, but if they choose not to go, then that's fine. Like, you can't then go, oh, well, you didn't show up. You weren't allowing my partner to come. Like, that's weird. Like, I'm not going to allow your partner to show up, but I'm going to get mad at you if you don't. No, you can't do that. You can't do that. I don't care. You like the tangents? Well, it's good that you like them because you don't have a choice, Deviant. They're going to come anyway. Like, I'm glad you do, though, because, like, it's going to have number wang. Okay, yeah. That's number wang. 5, that's number wang. That was oh god, who was that? That was David. I can't remember the guy's name. It was David something, and David Mitchell. Was it Mitchell and Mitchell and Webb? Yeah, Mitchell and Webb. That their thing on the Are We the Baddies? That was the best thing ever. That was the best thing ever. That was the Peep Show guys. Yeah, exactly, Luke. Exactly. That was the best ever. Are we the baddies? Like, we've got skulls on our caps. Skulls. Is anything good ever associated with skulls? Look, I actually, David Mitchell, I love him in everything I've seen him in, like, especially the sort of game shows and QI and things. Like, he's just amazing. Just amazing. I, 25 female, married my husband, 26 male, a year ago after the decade long relationship with some on and off. Okay, that's fair. That's fine. Some relationships have on and off again. I mean, when I was dating Lynn, we did an on and off thing for a period. Like it just, you find your feet eventually. It's okay. My sister, 22 female, has never been a huge fan of him, mainly because, one, she used to overstep personal space with him, which made him uncomfortable. Okay, that's a bit worrisome. What do you mean by overstep personal space? What do you mean by that? Like she'd slap him on the ass? What are we talking about? You'd tell him about, your bunions? What are we talking about here? Because there's a lot of different ways to put that. 2, he's more reserved and doesn't engage with her the way most people do. Okay, so he's a quiet, reserved person. Okay. 3, I've historically kept my personal life separate from my family. Your personal life, your family is your personal life. And 4, she believes he's at fault for my past breakup and communication struggles. Okay. So a problem can come with if you are dating someone, or you are going out with someone, or even if they're your husband or whatever, you've got to understand that if all you do is tell your family what a dick he is when you have fights, or how bad he is when you have fights, and never tell them how good they are for you, that's what they're going to believe. They will have no idea why you're with this guy. Like, I can understand. Or if the guy just tells their family all the bad things their partner does, but never any of the good things. So usually when they're like, oh, well, they don't like him, sometimes part of it is you've never told them the likable parts of him, I don't know. When my husband and I got back together in 2023, okay, we had the intention to get married in a year. We broke up right as we planned to start ring shopping. That's not a good sign. She took it badly, and initially she didn't want to come to the wedding. I explained how I had only shared the bad parts. Here we go. I explained how I'd only shared the bad parts of my relationship with her, not the good, and it wasn't fair to my husband, given that he constantly works to improve himself and our relationship. Well, at least he's trying. I don't know. At least he's trying, I guess. I told her, but so one of the things that I see people do is go, well, we're having problems, we'll get married, that'll solve it. No, it won't. It absolutely won't. In fact, it'll probably be worse. Like, seriously, don't ever get married to solve your problems. Like, it won't solve anything, ever. I think you should work it out, be in a good place, and then get married. Oof. I told her I wish she'd be at my wedding, but I wouldn't force her, and it'd be understandable. But that I'd be understandably hurt if she didn't come. Yeah, I would understand that. That's fine. Eventually, she attended and seemed happy, but after the wedding, there's been back and forth conflicts, especially with adjusting to new traditions and priorities. There's been a back and forth of conflicts. She has accused me of telling her what she wants to hear to keep the peace, or siding with my husband instead of her. For context, I've always been her support network and her favorite sibling, so I know my moving, getting married is a huge adjustment for her. Okay. For her recent birthday, she asked if my husband could not attend. Initially, I considered it, but then I felt weird about it. Yeah. My husband had missed a fence before due to schoolwork or health, but he's never been excluded. I told her we wouldn't attend the family gathering, but that we could either come another time or I'd celebrate together with her another day. She blew up saying I was choosing my husband over her again, that I knew she only always wanted to celebrate on her actual birthday, and that her birthday was the one day where she should get her preference. No, you don't get preferential treatment on your birthday. Like, yeah, it's nice if people can, give you preferential treatment for your birthday, but you can't demand it. What world do we live in when it's like, oh, well, because it's my birthday, I want you to come to my birthday party, but your husband can't. And if I don't get my way, it's not my birthday. What? Come on. Ugh. Ugh. I explained to her that I was trying to respect the fact that she didn't want my husband to be there on her birthday, but that didn't feel comfortable not coming with him. Yeah, imagine how the husband feels, dude. Like, seriously. She basically accused me she accused me of ruining our relationship. I tried to suggest a compromise of us doing something instead of a family gathering. She wasn't happy even celebrating with my family because she doesn't get along with our brothers. Oh, for fuck's sake. But she refused any suggestions. She decided not to celebrate her birthday with our family and instead celebrate it with her friends. I still got her a birthday gift, but she hasn't spoken to me since. I feel torn. I hate my sister being sad, but I also don't want to set a precedent that people can invite me to family events while excluding my husband. My parents and friends are on my side, but my older brother thinks I effed up with my sister. Am I the arsehole? Edits and says a lot of comments. My husband is non-confrontational. He likes to keep the peace and accept situations as is. He said he was fine with not going. My issue wasn't about him not going. It was that he was specifically not invited. I asked him if the situation was reversed and I wasn't invited, would he be okay with it? His answer was no, of course. And yeah, some people are non-confrontational. They don't like to talk about this stuff. And that's okay. I get it. 2, my husband is a very kind person. He is quiet, serious, and stoic. He doesn't like conflicts, has never raised his voice to me or hand in our entire relationship or said anything insulting to me ever. So no one would consider him abusive because he isn't. Okay, that's fair. Obviously, you are seeing a snippet of our relationship, whereas I have a decade of history with him. When we broke up before we started engagement shopping, it was because both of us were overworked and overwhelmed. I thought he had stopped caring about me, not realizing he was working so much and stressed with school. He thought it over, was depressed, and didn't try to fix it. Yeah, that's fair. That devastated me, thinking he didn't care, and my sister and friends saw me crying and upset that he didn't care. It took a few months of therapy and us having some vulnerable, hard conversations for both of us to fix how we communicated. Yep. I never and that is how you healthily deal with things. Like she cried to her family. I get that. They think he doesn't care about her. In reality, he was depressed. Now, she's probably not comfortable telling them that, hey, he was depressed and that they had therapy to work it out. That's how you deal with things. I never spoke badly about my husband, never called him bad names or implied anything. I did express how I felt we were drifting apart and listed reasons. And yes, I've learnt my lesson not to share those concerns with anyone except the therapist or his family. But mostly I was just heartbroken and sad. So they loved me and felt hurt for me. Right. So they think that your husband hurt you and they don't like him because of that, because he hurt you. Right. And it's sort of this, they're only getting one side of the story. Your husband was hurting himself. He was depressed. Like, somebody that gets depressed and seems like they don't care and hurts their wife because of that, they're not trying to do that. My sister is my sister and I love her. We don't always get along or agree on stuff, but she has never tried to sabotage me or take advantage of me. I don't agree with the sentiments here as you are just seeing one snippet of our relationship. I just want to know if I was in the wrong for not attending one for the birthday. Wow, this is a lot. This is a real lot. Okay, this is definitely the last one because seriously, it's taking me ages to go through this. Of course, my husband and I do things separately. There have been times when he couldn't come or I couldn't come and we go separate to events. Yeah, I mean, that's a big difference between like your husband not showing up because he's busy or he's got other responsibilities or, I mean, I've had times I haven't shown up for family stuff because I haven't felt up to it or, but that's a big difference between saying, hey, we're having a birthday party. You can come, but your husband can't. There's a big difference. But we like each other. So, of course, we like doing things together. It has been the expectation for our family that my husband comes to family gatherings. And to be honest, after years of feeling like I have to keep my life private, I'm trying to work on being more open. That's really good. That's probably something that came up in the thing. She's probably not taken him to a lot of things because she wants to keep those two separate. Look, if you've got a partner, he's kind of part of the family already. I think that they're part of the family already. Even, I don't know why you'd try to keep them separated. Furthermore, we have always had birthday family gatherings, traditionally in my family at my parents' house. My sister still lives at home. The rest of my siblings don't care if the family birthday dinner is on a different date. My sister always wants to celebrate her birthday on her birthday. That's why I gave her other options, but she didn't like them. That's kind of really, she wants to celebrate her birthday on her birthday. Look, life's a bit harder than that, girl. You've got to give some leniency and say, hey, yeah, let's wait till the weekend when people aren't doing stuff, have kids to take care of, have meals to cook. You've got to be a bit flexible with people. You want people to come to your birthday thing? Like, it does. I'm really leaning towards her sister is kind of, a bit overbearing, to be honest with you. I mean, so what that they don't celebrate your birthday on the actual day? They do you know how hard it is to organize people to go to a birthday or a family gathering? And you're basically saying, no, it has to be on this day. It just seems unreasonable to me. I'm leaning towards I handled that interaction poorly and I should have taken more consideration of my sister's feelings. Both of us were valid in our feelings. Well, feelings are always valid. And I think both of us could have handled it better. Yeah, probably, but I don't think you're wrong. Also, keep in mind we were 15 when my husband and I met in high school. 5 years that was on and off because we were dumb teenagers in our first relationship and also a long distance for some of it. The next 5 years we were together, breaking up only because of number 3. Wow, this is the most well thought out explanation I've ever seen. Because you're overworked and overwhelmed. Okay. Look, at the end of the day, it's not up to me I've got a brother. It's not up to me who he chooses his wife to be. And I would never invite my brother and say, no, but do not bring your wife. That's ridiculous. Even if I didn't like the wife, that is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. That's not, I'm going to upvote. That's not cool. You have done absolutely nothing wrong. Absolutely nothing wrong, in my opinion. That's just my opinion. But, if you do have a therapist, absolutely talk to them about it. Hang on, I'll get this this thing running. Start a poll. Yep. Was the poster right for not going to birthday party? You know what? If somebody said, oh, I'm inviting you to my birthday party, but don't bring Lynn, I would say, no, we're a package set. We are a set. You either have both of us or neither of us. That's where it's at. I don't know who would do that. That's the thing. It just sounds awful. I don't know. Really weird. Putting up with family-in-law that you don't like is just one of those things, right? You've just got to do it. You don't have to hang around them at the party. It's just, you can just go off. But, you can't, in-laws suck. I know, they're in-laws, but just deal with it. Seriously. Okay. Oh, okay. Everyone sucks. You did F up. People need to be stopped dumping on others about all their issues with their SO. You said it wasn't fair to your husband that she viewed as negative, yet that's all you told her. To her, your husband is a massive ass, and it's only when you want to get back together that suddenly he has great sides too. You were the one who was unfair to your husband, painting a one-sided view of him. Your sister needs to let it go, and she's acting out, but you created this system. It's hard to dislodge a negative impression. Well, yes, but at the same time, they should understand that, they should understand that there's more to that person than just what their daughter has told them or her sister has told her, I don't know. It just, yeah. Form successful. This is what happens in on-again, off-again relationships. The parties in them think they're passionate and working through their relationship while everyone around them is drug. That is not the adjective. That is not the verb you're looking for. Drug. I would presume it would be dragged. Drug is used in some American dialects as the past participle or past tense of the verb drag. It's not one of those things where British English and American English differ. Dragged is still the recognized past participle of the verb drag in the US. Okay, so it's not actually official, but apparently some dialects use it because they can't English. Okay. Oh, you learn something new. Into the never-ending drama and ends up disgusted and exhausted. They also soon know they'll be off again. Everyone sucks here, but thank you for mostly you putting your sister and husband. Wow. Okay. I think everyone sucks here. It sounds like you learned his sister during many breakups, and now with her husband dumped all that negativity on her, so it's not surprising she has a poor opinion of him. Have you done anything to help see the good sides of your husband? Because otherwise she just had a negative image she got from you. We've all been in a position where a family member or friend rants about their significant other and how awful they are, only to get back together with them and expect everyone to be thrilled. You seem to have done this to her repeatedly, including right before getting engaged. Your sister doesn't like your husband based off what you've told her, so I'm honestly a little reluctant to even call her an arsehole here. Your spouses can be a package deal. You've been venting about this man to your sister for a decade and now want her to pretend your relationship is going to go the distance. It was immature of her to ask that, but it is her birthday. She's only 22, so don't find this shocking. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. You're the asshole. You find some mess. I don't know about that. I don't know. Like, here's the thing. People vent. I would understand as her sister that people vent, and that the description of a husband doesn't sum them up, kind of thing. I guess if she kept him separate from the family, you could understand why that happened. I don't know. Maybe. I still don't think so. I still think, the sister should listen to her sister and give him another chance. Like, you're not even, like, you don't even know this guy and you're just judging him. I don't know this guy and I'm judging him, but I've been asked to, so that's the difference. You're the asshole. I only had shared parts. Yeah. You're the asshole. And then when she said you were choosing him over her, you didn't immediately tell her, well, obviously it's my husband, not you. Your husband is your family, so if he's not invited for family function either. Yeah, no, that's fair. Wow. Sounds like your sister is not a fan of him because she loves you and sees what you've been through. Food for thought. You say you've been told the bad and not the good. Hardly matters. The two do not cancel each other out. Him doing anything good doesn't erase the bad. Yeah, but you always have, like, come on, dude. Like, no one ever has a perfect relationship where you don't fight and, nobody gets, like, she gave the reason as he got depressed and she felt like he wasn't caring about her. He didn't love her. Like, that isn't like saying, oh, well, he I get that, hey, if he does good, it doesn't erase something like, him hitting her or something. Like, I get that. But, I don't think that applies here. They exist together, so I hardly think that would impact their opinion of her. Despite you being offended, she wants to enjoy that day with her sister. Okay. It sounds like she doesn't want to sacrifice her comfort on her birthday, but still wants her big sister there. No-win situation. I don't think identifying the arsehole is really important, but no sister is okay with a man having a pattern of being one to her sister for over a decade. Okay. I imagine every time she hoped you were free of it, she was let down on and off for 10 years and calling off the wedding before it even get planned. Yeah, I wonder why little sis has a hard time with it. That's exhausting. Some people struggle more with letting their loved ones make decisions that they think are poor. I don't think it's coming from a place of malice. You guys clearly didn't communicate enough or effectively. Your life decisions, good or bad, are yours to make. She needs to know that if you are misguided, that is your lesson to learn. In the meantime, she needs to let it go or it's going to divide you all further. Yeah, I kind of, for some reason, OP is giving me major abuse spouse vibes. No, she's explained that. And I have to take her on her word, Yeah, I still don't think so. I still disagree. I still think that even if you're but I understand that relationships can go through rocky patches and still be good relationships. Like, you're sort of saying, the good doesn't cancel out the bad, but what bad did he do? I suppose they didn't know that he was depressed, right? Yeah, they didn't know he was depressed. So I guess they made that comment for knowing. But it just shows that maybe you shouldn't assume that much before you go into it, as he makes assumptions. Totally. Number Wang. Yeah, okay, that was something I went through. It takes 3 skulls to make a good batch of head soup. Wow, all right. I don't know what that means. Reed says, I feel like she's leaving out stuff about the boyfriend. My spider sense is tingling. It seems like she's making excuses for him, trying to steel man his behavior. I don't think so, but, that was probably before we read the extra stuff, right? My favorite Super Hans quote, people like Coldplay and voted for Nazis. You can't trust people, Jeremy. I don't mind Coldplay. I don't think they're great. I don't mind them. The only thing worse when it comes to trouble relations than to solve it by getting married, to solve by getting a kid. Yeah, absolutely, Deviant. Absolutely, yeah. That's terrible. Reed says, otherwise, who forbids a person from coming to a party because they're too reserved if that's their only issue? Reserved people aren't usually very disruptive. Correct, yeah. No, true, Reed. But, some people think that, hey, if you're coming to a party, you've got to party it up. You've got to be a certain way. I had that myself, actually. I had a girl that I knew who thought me doing crosswords I was just boring and stuff. And maybe I was, but, more fool me. I don't know. I just like to chill. Deviant says, yeah, I can smell some withheld information too, Red. Can't say exactly, but whole thing smells funky for some reason. Funky not good. Funky not good. Mandup says, feels hard to judge without all points of view, but it seems weird to exclude your sister's husband from family events. I agree. And Reed says, maybe my spider sense is wrong. Yeah, and this is the problem with intuitions, right? Like, intuitions are really good for making quick judgments, but sometimes they're wrong, and that's okay. It doesn't mean that your intuition shouldn't happen or that you shouldn't use it, but understanding that intuitions, we need more information sometimes. But totally, Reed, I get you, mate. Deviant Outcast says, yeah, the clarification's kind of erased my smell-o-vision. Now it sounds more like the issue that the poster has held her family outside of her relationship, except when there's been issues. Yeah, and I understand that, but I don't think, so when I'm usually saying someone's being an asshole, it's usually when they're doing it on purpose. They've actually made a choice. And I don't think necessarily that she knew that. It sounds like she's got issues with communicating to her family. And that's okay. I get that. Some people really do. Some people's families don't communicate well. They really don't. They struggle to tell each other anything. So yeah, I don't know. I still think her sister's sort of in the wrong. It still feels weird. It feels like her family wouldn't have a real reason to dislike him, even if they saw her bummed about a breakup. I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I would think that if my brother broke up and he was really upset and stuff, maybe, or if I had a sister and they're really upset, I mean, I would feel bad for them and stuff. But I wouldn't think that they're a horrible person because this happened. People break up, and sometimes it isn't because one person, sometimes they're just not compatible for one another. It's no one's fault. It's no one's issue. Maybe that's because I come from a broken home where my parents broke up. Like, I don't blame either parent for that. It was just they were better off apart than together, essentially. Tilting Windmill says sister needs to get over herself. Reed says, oof, I've had some friends with spouses like that. Really did warrant the cold shoulder they got from their family. Okay. Really did warrant the cold shoulder they got from their family. I'm not sure what's in reference. I don't think this guy warrants the cold shoulder he got from his family, quite frankly. Left-handed Jedi said, before my dad died, I'm sorry. Rest in peace, Jedi Father. I'm sorry. The last event I attended, my sister deliberately hid my kids from her family, my dad, to punish him for not letting him see his grandchildren. Oh, that's terrible. Not hit. Yeah, gotcha. Typical American education. Fair enough. Some American dialects, says Anja. Yeah, the wrong ones. Yeah, fair enough. Tilting Windmill says, for fuck's sake, spouses are a package deal. Don't want the spouse, then don't invite either. I'm with you, Tilting. I agree with you. Even if you don't like the spouse, you invite somebody, you're inviting their significant other, right? Am I alone on that? Like an invite, you can't say, or it seems wrong to say to somebody, hey, you can come, but your significant other can't. I mean, if it's something that is, like a hen's night or something, I totally understand it, right? Or a girl's night out or something, I totally understand it. But this just seems, we don't like your spouse. Well, he's going to be in her life. Like, if that's the thing, if you're basically saying, hey, I want a relationship with you, but don't want one with your significant other, and I don't want them in my life, look at the position you're putting that person in. You've got to choose between me and your spouse. That's horrible. That's horrible. Reed says, it feels like to me that she's been hiding her husband from her family for some reason. They've been dating since they were 15 and they don't know him like she does. I don't know. Yeah, and some people do that. Some people have trouble having a relationship in front of their family. It's just one of those things. Luke says, I can't imagine I'm posting on Am I the Arsehole? I don't enjoy getting yelled at in general, let alone to a bunch of Reddit strangers. No, that's fair, Luke. That's fair. I probably wouldn't go on there either, mate. I'll be honest with you. But yeah. Ancha says, Luke, I think most people are expecting everyone to validate their position. Yeah, I think to a degree. I think people do post there when they genuinely don't know. They genuinely are like, because I've had that thought before. Was I an arsehole for doing this? I've honestly had that thought before. I'm not sure I would trust Redditors of all people to give me the correct information. But, obviously some people are more are less selective with the feedback that they get. Let's put it that way. Darren says, I invited to events by in-laws that I knew did not care for me. I stayed home and did what I could to facilitate my wife going. Yeah, but that's your choice, Darren. That's totally fine. You've got the autonomy there. I don't have a problem with that. That's totally fine. If you're okay with it, then that's cool. But it's that they're just deciding it. They're just deciding it for you. I think that's fine. Reed said, if you asked her sister, she's not going to say he's not invited. If you asked her sister, she's not going to say he's not invited because he's too reserved or is too uncomfortable. Yeah, probably. Mandroop. Okay. No, you don't have to do that. Look, I'm just in a weird place at the moment. Robin, 17 months. Robin, amazing. Thanks all you do. Wow, that's a long time. That is actually a long time. 18 months, a year and a half next month. Incredible. Thank you so much, Robin. I appreciate your support and everything you do. Really appreciate it. Hello, Berius. How you doing? Hen's night. Well, yeah, I mean, they happen. You know, look, if it's good for the stag, then it's good for the hen, quite frankly. I don't have a problem with it. I don't. I really don't. Yeah, but a girls' night out, I don't have a problem with those. If you know, if that's the theme and that's the thing. Now, if it was like a girls' night out and other people brought their husbands and I wasn't allowed, that's a bit different. You know, like, it's just personal versus not personal, and this definitely seems personal. I wonder. Here's food for thought. I wonder how her sister would feel if she was married and, you know, the poster said, hey, you can come and not bring her husband. I've got a funny feeling the sister in that situation would be less than thrilled about that. You know, would be absolutely less than thrilled about that. So that's what we're talking about when we're talking about reciprocity. It's basically, how would I feel? Well, empathy is how I'd feel in that situation, but then applying the same standard all around to everybody. So I think the sister would be upset in that case. You know, and I don't think it'd be right to do it that way either. Let's see how the poll did. Where is it? Where'd I put it? Where'd I put my poll? Poster has done the right thing. Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree. Let's see. Reed, I have a best friend who would absolutely say, invite you to my birthday, but she can't come. And he'd say, yeah, I get it. And that's the difference, Reed. That's the difference. They're divorced now, but she was a nightmare, ruined every get together. Yeah, but that isn't the same situation, Reed. And I get what you're saying. Totally understand. Yeah. And there is someone that comes to mind to me that I would definitely say, hey, friend, you're invited, but your significant other is a nightmare. I can't have her there. Right. But I wouldn't get angry if he didn't come. And that's the difference. You're saying, you know, that's fine if you don't come either. Right. Right. So would you be upset if he didn't come to your birthday? If you are, then you're probably an arsehole, because that's his wife, right? It's kind of sucks, but you can't change that. You know, I wouldn't, if that person said to me, hey, then I'm not coming, it's like, no, understand, cool. Oh, well, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah, exactly, Reed. You can be disappointed, absolutely, but you wouldn't be angry at them because you're the one laying down the terms, and if he chooses to stand by his wife and not go, that's understandable. Disappointing, sure. And that's what we're talking about here, Reed. It's sort of a reasonable expectation of people. And, you know, if you said, hey, I'll grab drinks with you, just you, some other time, you know, totally understandable. You compromise on these things. All good, mate. Like, and that's the difference. It's would you be would your sister, would you be the arsehole if you went, no, you've got to come and leave your wife behind? I think kind of, yes. I think kind of, yes. All right. Well, that was the last one I was going to do. So sorry, Berries, you kind of got in here last second, and that's okay. That's all right. I you know, these things ruin my voice because I have to talk constantly. I might just do deviants. If it was a family gathering and Soot wasn't invited, I'd certainly blow a gasket and stay home cuddling with Soot. Family didn't accept that, I'd bring him out. They'd have to deal with it. Yeah, but everybody loves Soot. That's an impossible situation. That's an impossible thing. It would never happen because someone would have to dislike Soot, and that just isn't happening. That just isn't. No, I'm joking. I don't know Soot that well, but I love that you love him. I really do. Oh, missing mods having a thing? I haven't seen that come up on my feed. It's very, very strange. It's very odd. Very, very odd. But anyway, that's been AIMBOT. Hope we've helped you in some moral decisioning. Oh, Jill's a nightmare. Yeah, Jill is he's a bit of a wild card. He doesn't let other people talk. He's got very little respect for other people. It's pretty bad. He's bad. He's a disruption, at least. You know, and it's a shame. It's definitely a shame. I'm amazed he actually showed up. He doesn't usually like to go into women's streams. He doesn't like women in general. So yeah, it's strange. But hey, maybe he's overcome that little foible, that little oddity. But thank you so much for joining me. Do join me for Friday. I have Fundamentalist Fails. I've got a big week next week, actually. I've got a couple of debates, hopefully. One is a panel debate. I'll put it on my announcements in the Discord. Link to the Discord is in the chat. Just throw it into your browser and you should be able to get there. So I'll put that up in announcements. Don't forget to be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
This old switchboard could talk. Wow, your ears would sizzle. 1880. We take Alexander Graham Bell's invention for granted today. Perhaps we should. But isn't it incredible that millions and millions of people can talk simultaneously to practically any spot on Earth?